it's so weird, like places like this and like going to play gigs, like no one has figured out how to just make it plug and just work. Like it's never, there's not.
I mean, I'll be honest.
How much technology we keep adding,
you know,
it's still like the same amount of setup.
I mean, I'll be honest, like, you know, another reason I'm happy to have Nick continue to play around here is that there's a part of me that's like, well, if we can eventually get to a point we can OBS this ourselves straight to our YouTube or Twitch channel, well then I'm not as tethered to this place anymore, and anybody who wants me, I can start doing it.
Yeah.
But for now, even if there's all the hiccups, it's hard to argue with a free space that does have a live stream, even if it's not the best quality.
Oh, so it's free?
Yeah. I don't have to pay for this.
Nice. It's just HDMI for me, I take it?
Yes.
That one's yours.
Yeah, and you know, if it doesn't work, which there's a good chance it won't, because there always seems to be some tech problem, just go get the desk guy, he'll help you out.
I can just carry my laptop around to people.
I mean, the screen is definitely on right now. Now, are we on the right input? Let's see. Well, yeah, we're on HDMI, so in theory, it should see you. But, as I said, you know, if it doesn't, the desk people usually are decent support. All right, let me...
Check. Checkity, check. Check. I haven't used this thing in so long, I probably should have fired it up beforehand. Wake up, you. I forgot I was going to put a pop filter on this thing. Damn it. That's fine. I'll live. I would live if I would learn how to type.
Is this my subwoofer?
This guy's coming, and at least one person showed up besides us. So. Hello.
Hello.
Oh, howdy.
Hey.
What's going on here?
Yeah, we'll be getting started in just a few minutes. We'll start around 7-ish.
Okay.
Or maybe 7:05. We're going to just give people time to filter in. I never know how many people are going to show up, especially in these post-COVID days.
That's fine. I'm not
Yes.
Shoot.
Well, we can get your slides working because they're already way more important than most presentations, I would think.
I know, I was like gathering up all these photos to kind of.
I mean,
do a slideshow, and then ultimately I was like, I'm just going to do a Google Photos album because that's really the best way to do this.
Worst case, you know, and I'm going to suggest doing this anyway, if you send your slides to Nick, he can actually incorporate them into your talk video. He's been experimenting with showing the slides and then having a cutout of the speaker talking, actually.
Okay. Well, I have a Google Photos album that I'm using, so I don't know if that is a
Well, I will
possibility.
certainly, after the talk, connect the two of you via email so that you can get Nick your assets so we can get you a better video.
Cool.
Advanced.
All right. Oh yeah, I guess I'm going to need some Wi-Fi action.
Yeah, you'll need to log into the guest Wi-Fi
Okay.
if you're going to be using that.
It would be preferred.
Yes.
Check. 1, 2, 1, 2. All right, let me turn that off for now. Wait a minute. Why am I still hearing you? What's going on there?
Is anybody bugging me about
check.
the-
Well, I'll just set them both to. I have headphones on my pocket. Why don't I just use those?
You know, I swear, if the number of people who affirmatively liked what we do on social media translated to actual attendance, I'd actually need people to help me run these things.
Right. But if that was true in general in social media, it'd be a whole other world.
Cool. All good?
Thank you.
If I got $1 for every hit on my website each month, I could quit my day job and make twice as
Wow.
much. And yet, I still struggle. It's okay, it was like that when I was in music too.
Well, our live stream is running, so that is good. Because I've often in the past had difficulty getting it going on time. We are set there.
I need.
Let's see, I'll do that.
Nope, that's me.
Right.
Yeah, that's a pretty good looking camera though.
That one. That one.
Oh, no. Wow, okay, I don't know, somehow this is the first month the live stream audio doesn't actually sound like garbage. Maybe things are slowly starting
nice.
to get better around here. I won't necessarily have 5 or 6 people watching remotely all being like, I can't hear anything, which has been my life for several months now.
Got it. I'm gonna run to the restroom. I'll be back.
Yeah. It is not a hard start time, and we'll probably give a few minutes for people to filter in. All right. All right. And to anybody watching the stream, we'll be getting started in just a couple minutes, so bear with us. Well, as I say, normally we start at 7, but I'll probably just give it another few minutes in case one or two more people filter in.
That's cool.
And if it is us happy few, that's how it goes.
That's how it goes, so cool.
And I will also apologize that, my ability to personally promote has been tapped this month because a lot of stuff going on in my startup that has just sapped my free time.
Yes. Election-related stuff.
I was about to say it's election season.
Yeah, it is. So, and, few key employees moving on to other opportunities, me having to learn how to do their jobs, fun stuff like that, all while launching a new project and having to learn how to do a whole bunch of new technologies I haven't used before. So, I'm not been busy.
I just assumed you programmer people know all the technologies.
Well, that's what we want you to think, but...
I was going to say, as a non-programmer, I'm just like, hey, you all know Python, CSS, or C++, Rust. You know it all, right? Yeah.
I love that, we literally had somebody RSVP 15 minutes ago, and I'm like, why do that if you're not going to show up? I never get stuff like that.
Who was that? I wonder if it's somebody I know.
Yeah, because I get a lot of people do it just to have it on their meetup calendar, the same way I work maybe on an event. They're not actually planning to come, but still.
Rude.
Oh no, I learned long ago what social media yes, maybe, and no mean.
I know.
Emily is going to be launching. Definitely
Yeah, there are not, I'm one of those people watching the stream, but there are two other people watching. Oh, well, Mike Furstenfeld is actually going to be here. I don't know if you know Mike Furstenfeld.
I don't know.
But he's actually coming, because he literally in the YouTube chat said, just parked.
Yeah, cool.
All right, so I'm going to have one more for you. So in that case, I will give it 2 or 3 minutes for him to go. I mean, your presentation didn't sound like it's super long, and it was like you were having to pad it to get it up.
Well, I actually have a whole lot I could say, but I kind of narrowed it down to the more technical and future-oriented aspects of it than to give you the 10-year backstory.
Yeah, you know, what I love is, like, frankly, frankly, the whole thing is incredibly cyberpunk. People just don't realize it because it's uplifting. It isn't depressing and dark and, like, asking you to sell your organs or something.
Not yet.
He's like, that's phase 2.
Part of the plan, you know? It's fun at first, and then the ads, and then we get your kidneys.
I'm sorry, somebody like literally building like a sensory room in their damn house, like that's really cyberpunk. There's no way around that. Are you looking pretty good? Audio, video looking alright?
I'm having a hard time grabbing the slides. This is a new computer, so.
If you want, I can give you a link to the album, and you can kind of just pull up your own computer page along.
Well, what I would have to do is add it after, because this recording isn't going to be live anyways.
Right, no, this one's not live.
Oh, you're recording that?
Yeah. He will do some video wizardry, and it will actually get added to our own YouTube channel.
Gotcha. Well, I can still give you the slides if you want.
Yeah, I think, you know,
I might need that.
I thought it really like did make an improvement of the value of watching videos later, what you did with the slides, because like, yeah, we have a huge archive of videos, but like reading the slides, have fun with that, you know?
Yeah.
Well, the idea. I see the audio box. See, I do see, well, that's audio. And I don't care about that. I mean, hold on. You might lose your slides for a second.
That's totally fine.
Okay, cool. So this is the fun thing. A bunch of people we both know are all watching the live stream. So you do have an audience, even if they're not.
I know,
here
they're
with
all
us.
very.
But you see, that's half of why I like
That's the
providing the
feature.
live stream. Is we've had it for years, and it's accessibility. You know, there's many people who find our topics interesting, but they don't always want to deal with coming downtown.
Some of them may not be in the area.
Oh yeah.
True.
No,
Yeah, I think.
we definitely have had people from other places tune in. Hey. As soon as I saw your comment, I definitely held off till you get in.
I heard
Alrighty. Alright. Well, in that case, we certainly got enough people here now that we can get started whenever Nick is ready with the tech.
Hello.
This might be as ready as
How are you?
Great.
I'm Mike.
Hi, Mike.
Okay, so what's your name?
My name's Effie.
One more time?
F-E.
Effie. And what's your name?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Also Mike.
Also Mike. Great name.
How's your husband? How's he doing?
He's doing great.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen him like pre-COVID.
What's
you know.
your name?
Kevin, no, yeah, I do know.
Yeah.
I forgot your name was after you just said it.
Yeah. That's all good.
Yeah. No, I still think fondly of the time being your husband chatted to that State Department delegation about stuff a few years ago. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for coming out.
My pleasure.
Yeah. So, whenever you're ready with
Cool.
tech, I will kick us off.
Thanks for coming, by the way. What's your name?
Carlos.
Carlos. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, thanks for coming. And my name's Kevin. We run the kind of little digital civil liberties meetup group here at Cat Factory, and but we sometimes profile digital art because it's cool.
Okay. Excellent.
Thank you.
Very cool.
Have you been to the Eureka Room? You look
I
kind of
was there
familiar.
with Paul.
Yes, I thought you looked familiar. Yes. Okay. Yes.
No, I'm not surprised that this man made an
Yeah.
effort to come to this one
Yeah.
because it's all what he's about.
My car wouldn't start, and yet I'm still here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There earlier.
Very flattered. Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Eh,
I mean,
I just have to wing it.
All right, you're gonna wing it?
Yeah.
All right, so where should I stand to intro, Mike?
Oh, hold on.
Stopwatch up here, so.
1 second.
Okay. Wow, you were actually way more prepared than most of my speakers, so congrats.
Yeah, man, I could talk for many days. I'm a one to prepare.
Okay. All right, you're good?
Yep.
All right, cool. Welcome everyone, both in person and online, to the current monthly installment of the EFF-Austin Meetup. Know a lot of you, a few of you are new, welcome all. So for those of you who are new, my name is Kevin Welch, I'm the current president of the board at EFF-Austin. If you're like, what's EFF-Austin? Well, we are a long-standing Austin-based digital civil liberties organization. We've been around over 30 years at this point. We are closely affiliated. I was not there 30 years ago, by the way. We are closely affiliated with Electronic Frontier Foundation, which is based out of San Francisco and was founded around the same time as us. If you've never heard of Electronic Frontier Foundation, or EFF, they're the nation's oldest and largest digital civil liberties advocacy group. You can sort of think of them as the ACLU for the internet and emerging technologies. They try to make sure your rights are protected in emerging technological spaces, especially your First and Fourth Amendment rights to free speech and right to avoid unreasonable search and seizure / privacy. EFF advocates on a wide variety of tech policy issues that frequently make the news. You've probably heard something about in passing. They're defenders of net neutrality. They support end-to-end encryption against government and corporate surveillance. They defend Section 230 of the CDA, which basically is what allows all of us to post on platforms and those platforms not be sued out of existence, so we all have a place to share and talk. Basically doing a bunch of good stuff. So yeah, they are the real heroes, working every month, but we are one of many affiliate groups around the country that are part of a loose alliance known as the Electronic Frontier Alliance, or the EFA. If you are not based in Austin, but somewhere else in the US, there is a good chance that there is one near you. There are about 100 such groups all around the United States. Although interestingly, last I checked, EFF-Austin is not only the only one in Austin, we are the only one in Texas. So a lot of ground to cover. We are also the oldest member of the EFA. I believe the next oldest member is EF Georgia, which has been around since 1996. Yeah, so we don't do anywhere near as much as EFF does. We are a much leaner, smaller organization, primarily driven by the intelligence and passions of our volunteers. Though, of course, you are always welcome to donate on our website. There is a PayPal link at EFFaustin.org if you want to support our efforts. Yeah, but the main thing we do is educational. We hold monthly meetups here at Capitol Factory, currently second Tuesday of the month at 7 p.m., attendable both in person and online via our live stream, which Cap Factory graciously provides. We also have been really trying to up our AV game recently, thanks to one of our supporters, who I won't name because, hey, we're about privacy. I want to get his permission first. But we're really trying to up that and get some better videos that we're posting on our own YouTube channel. So if you missed the live stream, you can check those at a later date. So yeah, as far as the monthly meetups, we're always looking for speakers. If you or someone you know might make an interesting speaker on the topics in our wheelhouse, we'd love to hear from them. Basically anything to do with the intersection of tech, law, society, futurism, digital art, you know, it's all fair game. So if you know somebody who knows good stuff in that arena or doing interesting stuff in that arena, throw them at us. We're going to have our friend lawyer Shane, I'm blanking on his last name, but he's going to be our speaker next month. It's going to be a very relevant topic because he's basically going to be, as I mentioned a bit earlier, Section 230 of the CDA, which is a little law that helps websites like Facebook and Twitter and YouTube host all of our content. This law is very much under attack right now from multiple legal avenues, including there are actually several bonkers laws here in Texas right now that are doing crazy things with the way speech works online. And so Shane is actually pretty knowledgeable about the litigation space of speech on various platforms online. That's one of his specialties as a lawyer. So we're going to just be having a discussion about Section 230. what these pending, lawsuits that may eventually end up at the Supreme Court are going to do to potentially affect that landscape, and a way to balance, the weird place we find ourselves in historically, where we have these large private platforms that are quasi-functioning as digital public squares, and there's not a lot of competition. And it's a complicated question because whether they should be public or private, there's pros and cons on either side. So if you want to really nerd out about how we can have the best free speech ecosystem online, I encourage coming to next month. I will turn things over to our speaker in just a sec. I've mostly gone through the business I need to go through. I will also, as I said, we mostly are educational. We've also been occasionally known to throw fun cyberpunk parties, though there's not been one of those in a long time, thanks to COVID and other things. Maybe there will be again someday. We often have very fun guests like famed blogger and sci-fi author Cory Doctorow in attendance when he is available. But the other thing we sometimes do is, like our big brother or sister EFF, or however they identify, we sometimes get involved in activism at the local and state level. Most recently, we were part of a coalition here in Austin that was trying to defeat our city council bringing back ALPRs with our police department. If you've never heard of them, those are automated license plate readers, a technology that proponents say can combat crime, but we at EFF and EFF-Austin feel is a tool of mass surveillance without warrants. So we were part of a coalition that tried to stop them. We were not successful, although we did win that it's only going to be a one-year pilot program that will sunset unless City Council reauthorizes it. The reason I'm bringing this up is to just let everybody know that we have not stopped advocating on this issue. Our current plan, that is in its infancy, is we hope to eventually bring a ballot petition before the citizens of Austin to put the vote directly to the citizens of if this technology should be banned or not. So, two things we could use help with. People who are experts in crafting ballot petition language, lawyers or activists, or people who might know fairly wealthy tech types in this town who might want to fund the signature drive effort. So, if you know of any leads, let us know. We have several of our own leads and are in early conversations. I will not mention any names since everything is preliminary. But if you can help in any way on that fight, get with us. Kevin.Welch at EFF-Austin.org. All right, that's everything we're working on right now. So without further ado, I will intro and turn over to our speaker. Normally, for our speaker, I often have to very much reference the notes they gave me of their bio when I introduce them, but I happen to know our speaker this month very well and have known him for many years, so I think I can just intro him without needing to reference my notes. Our speaker this month is my friend Mike Michaels. Mike, he, to me, despite not originally being from Austin, he's a person who really he, to me, has the essence of kind of keep Austin weird in his soul. He's always doing interesting, truly unique projects that nobody else in town is doing and that I didn't even know anybody would think of. I remember when I first met him, he was running events called Slackathons, which were basically athlons for the rest of us, where they were as hilariously anti-competitive and were mostly excuses to go around doing fun Austin-y activities. I play with him in a band. He's for many years published a local events calendar here in Austin that you may have seen in HEB. He's got his fingers all over. If you want to know what's cool in this city, this man knows. I highly recommend his list of the 100 and more weirdest things in Austin on his blog. As a longtime native, I think he gets it in a way those touristy lists do not get it. Mike, a few years ago, started working on a new project that when I first learned about it kind of blew my mind. It is what he has dubbed the Eureka Room. Eureka Room for many years lived in Mike's house. It now has a more commercial space such that more people can experience it. But I'm not really going to tell you anything about what the Eureka Room is beyond saying that, to me, as I was kind of saying just a minute ago, you may be like, well, why are we profiling this? Well, digital art is one thing we do like to highlight because it is part of the electronic frontier. But also, frankly, I think what Mike's done with this project is incredibly in the spirit of cyberpunk, which is one of EFF and EFF-Austin's founding ethoses, which is ordinary people claiming technology for themselves and finding interesting novel uses for it. And really, the way I would put it is, you've heard of escape rooms, but to me, the Eureka Room is a far more interesting, truly novel concept. But the only reason it's not obvious it's cyberpunk is because it's joyful instead of dystopian. And without any further ado, I'm going to turn things over to Mike to tell you exactly what the Eureka Room is, how he built it, and why.
All right. Oh, thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody online. This will be somewhat casual. I have a lot of notes that are somewhat ordered, probably over a number of topics. So if you want to just stop and ask me a question, please feel free to do that. Kevin, can people ask questions online as well?
Yes, anybody online, just type your questions for Mike in the chat, and I will forward them to him.
Okay, great, thank you. So I'm going to talk a little bit about me, my background, and then the Eureka Room, and then some of the things I hope to see in the future for Eureka Room type stuff. So this is the Eureka Room. I guess I first want to say, I know one of you have been to the Eureka Room. It's kind of about the surprises, so I'm not going to give too many spoilers about the content, just enough to make you understand what it is. I'm going to more focus on the technology and the just how it came about and where I wanted to go. So, let's see. And I'm using my Google Photos here, so I'm not sure what's next. I can only see what is happening at the time. So, about me, Atlas Obscura. If you've ever been to this website, it's a bunch of weird stuff. I'm really into weird stuff. I moved to Austin in '99. I was in software for a while. All my vacations are around things that you can find in Atlas Obscura. Let me just back up one bit and say one more word about the Eureka Room. So the website says the Eureka Room is a fun and absurd participatory experience for friends and strangers. Visitors engage with curious and playful programming within a one-of-a-kind 100-square-foot room filled with light and sound. So it's best enjoyed if you don't know anything about it. I'll tell you a little bit more in a minute. So one of the places I've been to is this place, which looks a lot like it might be Holland, but it's actually in Japan. Years ago, there was an article in Wired magazine about a hotel that was run by robots. It made its rounds on the internet, and I wanted to go. The article was mainly about the hotel and the robots, and as a footnote, it mentioned that it was a part of this park that in '99 was built to look like parts of Holland. And it's amazing. These are like real brick buildings, and the story is it didn't stay in business very long, and then someone bought it to make it a very high-tech theme park. You can see here, it's huge. It's just massive. It's like a small city. So when they made it high-tech, they took the windmills and the tulips, and they put LEDs over everything. You can see the white strips there are all LEDs. They put LEDs in the canals. There's just LEDs everywhere. Hopefully this video will run. Let's see if I can get this to go. They have this huge tower. It looks like it's water, but it's all LEDs. It's just like the most insane place I've ever been in my life. And so this is the sort of places I seek out. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a while. Like Kevin mentioned, I make this Austin events wall calendar, shows you things to do. I've been making that for 16 years. I sell in HEB and Costco. I really like events and things that are going on. So part of my interest in events and activities made me interested in creating my own experience. I've had the Eureka Room idea for over 10 years. I'm going to try to cut back on the history of it a lot. There's a lot of twists and turns. There's more about the calendar. But I've also done other events like the Austin Stationary 5K, where the people who run stand and the people who hold the signs are running to make it look like the people who are standing are running, if that makes sense. There they are right there. They made some signs. And another event called I Got a Bag of Wigs, Let's Wear Them, where we went down to Town Lake and convinced people who were running to wear wigs. An Austin Messy Homes tour, It was an online thing during COVID. Slackathlon, as Kevin mentioned. I made this giant cornhole board. It's for sale. If anybody wants a giant cornhole board, please let me know. I'm way done with it. And there's somebody playing it. You can see that? Yeah. So that gives you an idea of like kind of stuff I'm into. So I decided, I had all these different ideas. I wanted to put them in one room for people to have different experiences. I have a huge list of ideas. So I started just building out a room in my what was my music room. I had no idea how to frame. You can see it's terribly framed. I thought I'd use black plastic for the walls. Here's it going in. This is what it ended up looking like. Kevin, I don't know if you've ever seen the original Eureka Room. This is more the dystopian feel that you had mentioned earlier.
It looks like a murder box.
Yeah, so this was not good. Also, the projector was inside it and it lit up the room. It was just not the vibe I wanted. So it kind of died a death. There's where you sat before you were murdered. Yeah, that was a little discouraging. A couple years later, I said, okay, I'm going to build it differently. We're going to build this wall with this whiteboard. I'm going to have a rear projector. You can see there the screen. And it'd be something like just the screen with some ambient light like this. So I bought these ambient lights. The TV's just to stand in, just to see what it might be like. These pictures make it look way better than it actually is. It was really lame. It was more like this, and I didn't really like it. I had this other project, this magic table that Mickey Delp had bought, who I think is watching.
I mean, somebody called Deltronics is watching. So
Yeah, so that's probably him. And it looked way cooler than the lights. So I said, okay, it's made out of LEDs. Let's put some LEDs on the wall. So started putting LEDs on the wall. I contacted an engineer who I found, I think through Mickey actually, and we just got really excited and decided to buy a whole bunch of LEDs and put them all over the walls. So you can see here, each one of those is a strip of LEDs. And on top of the fact that there's a lot of LEDs, when we ordered them as 30s, which is 30 per meter, I believe. But they came as 60, so we had double LEDs we wanted. We had ended up with 10,000 LEDs. You can see here we're hanging them up. We had to I had to go through a bunch of acrylic. There's so much choices of acrylic. I wanted to get the hot spots to not show and to have it as high res as possible. So we tested out a bunch of stuff. You can see here one of the earlier videos of it. So it was 2 panels. It was like 2 4x8 panels. This is the projector screen, which, sorry, it's a little blurry, but it's clear acrylic and some rear projection screen that I found online. And it's just amazing. Like everything we needed, we could just find something. Like I was just so blown away by how much stuff is out there and how many people are making stuff and how affordable it is, relatively speaking. So I went through many projectors. I would buy them from Amazon and I would return them when they didn't work for my needs. After a while, Amazon called me and said, "What are you doing? Why do you keep returning all these expensive projectors?"
They enough, they asked what was
They-
going
they-
on.
yes. So I was like,
I didn't think that was possible.
yeah, I was like, they emailed me. I don't know if they called me. They probably emailed me, but they're like, "What's going on? What's your scam?" And I'm like, I don't know how to test projector just looking online, right? So I did eventually find one. Just a note for anybody who's buying a projector. I have this thing called it's called the rainbow effect. Some people, when they look at projection screens and they move their eyes a little bit, they get this really annoying RGB color. Epson seems to be the only people who make a projector that does not create this annoying feature. So if you have a friend that's like watching project screens, like, what is that? And everybody thought it was crazy for the longest time, and I finally Googled it, and it's a thing. So Epson's the way to go, in my opinion. I had to get the projector. had to get farther back from the screen than was really possible, so I had to take this plug and go buy a different plug online so it could just go straight down instead of being like that. Even that wasn't enough, so I had to actually drill out the projector to just get every inch, because the room I was in was not big enough. Also, the closet it was in was not big enough, so I had to cut the wall down. I think that beam was important, but so I cut it down. I taped it up. I'm not the ideal maker. For anyone who knows me, I don't really measure stuff. So did all that, and then there's my support. But so then the projector doesn't quite clear the cut, so I had to cut it again, and then which meant I had to cover up all the electronics and clean it up. Actually, I don't think I showed it on here, but I had to do it 3 times. It was that terrible. I never learn, apparently. But luckily, I have awesome maker friends that help me out. I'm just the guy that forces things to happen. So you can see it's starting to take shape here. This is just some image from the internet. There's another one. So here's a shot of one of the earlier shots of just some YouTube video stars I got, and some generative art on the LEDs. We were fortunate that it was kind of reflective, so the stars aren't really on the wall. It's just that the acrylic's reflecting, and and so I ended up just kind of using that as part of the in some of the programs, just taking advantage of that bug, which is kind of a feature. So here's a little bit of the behind the scenes. I can talk somewhat to this. Mickey helped me a lot. I had some other help from a guy named Noah White. Let's see, I'll get back to Touch Design. So it basically all runs off of PC in this program called Touch Designer, which I'll jump into in a minute. And this is just, right here is the mapping of each LED strip. There's just, every LED is mapped, all 10,000 of them. Goes into the PC. Actually, let me go ahead and jump over there. So this is Touch Designer. All right, it worked. What we have here, if you can see my mouse, would it be better for me to stand in front of it and point, or?
I mean, you'll still be in view. This whole area is in view.
Okay, so basically, I have 4 different programs here. This is kind of just some dummy graphics. And we choose the program, and it outputs to here. Then it goes into another section of the program. Where it starts up over here. We take it here. It actually goes here too. But it goes from here. We split up the left side. Let me back up and say the whole thing is one video that wraps around 3 walls. So I cut off 1/3 and put it on the left wall, I cut off another third, put it on the right wall, and I cut off the middle and put it on the projector. Then it goes through this whole network, which I'm happy to go into more detail with you all if you want me to. Here's where it gets mapped to the LEDs, then it throws it out to the Ethernet port right here on the PC, and it goes back.
That's running the projector and the LED?
Yeah, so, yeah, good question. Yeah, please stop me, because I'm kind of...
So the control bus is an Ethernet cable.
So this is the LEDs. The monitor I use to just see what's going on goes here. This, or maybe it goes there. And then there's a USB that goes out to the projector.
Okay, so the USB goes to the projector.
I'm sorry. HDMI goes to the projector.
HDMI.
HDMI to the projector, Ethernet to the LEDs. There's another...
And Touch Designer controls all.
Touch Design controls all of it. I'll show you in a minute. I have a waiting room now that has a TV in it, and there's another, this guy goes out to the TV. So Touch Designer controls the waiting room, and Touch Designer is just amazing software. Cool. And it's really cheap. It's basically free to use unless you want to do commercial kind of stuff with it, and then it's still really affordable. So, yeah. So from that,
It's really 10,000, or was that a?
really, yeah, it's like 10,000 some odd. Yeah. Cool. Now it's over 20,000 because I've made it even bigger, which I'll show you. So this is still the home version.
Before we move on,
yes.
what how powerful a computer do you need to drive 20,000 LEDs?
You know, I don't remember the specs. I don't think it's super powerful. At the time, it was like about a $1,200 PC, so it's not like
Okay.
it's not a monster.
This is not
No.
running VR high-end
No.
gaming.
In fact, the whole thing runs out of like 2 plugs. Like the projector's in one, and the PC and all the LEDs are like in another. And well, basically, which I think may even be on the same circuit. So it's pretty low power. All the LEDs run at 5 volts.
2 plugs and 1,000 wires.
Yes, there's many wires. Like, and when we moved it, it was like such a nightmare because, like I kind of mentioned earlier, I'm not the best maker. I'm also not the best labeler. So some of the wires were not labeled well or tightly. It cost me many hours. So here's the boards where the Ethernet cable goes into these boards. These boards split out basically all the data to the LEDs. They also yeah, that's all I'll say on that. And because the power is separate. Wish Mickey was here, but the power is like a whole separate thing. Here's one of the power supplies. The power is the LED. We had some fuse blocks. So this is actually from the newer version, but they're essentially the same. So it kind of looks like this on the back. This is the new version? Yes. I didn't know anything about this stuff, but I feel like I helped a lot. I feel like I could build it from scratch now. Lots of wires. This is my, okay, so there's the old place. So, okay, so here's what it ended up looking like in my house finally. Let me remind you what it used to look like. So it's kind of a much better scenario. Well, it depends on your taste, I guess, but
Murder volcano.
murder volcano.
The turkey
Yes.
is displeased.
Yeah.
Such a good game.
Yes.
Such a good game.
I do show kids here. I actually stopped having kids just because it's not super indestructible. These kids were fine, but I'll get more into the philosophy about it. So then this happened.
Also, Mickey says you're doing great, FYI.
Oh, okay.
Apparently, you're explaining
Yes,
correctly
I have
how
not.
it works.
Yes, and he will tell me if I say something wrong on the text. So, COVID happened. It was February. I was ready to move it out of my house. I'd been there for 4 years, and this just threw a wrench in everything, as we all know. So I ended up. Long story short, I decided I would just learn more about creating experiences. I was reading like a book a week. I started this blog. I invented a title for myself called IRL Experience Designer. By some miracle, IRLXD.com was available. So I blog twice a week. I've got about 250,000 words on it now. Many of them are worth reading, some of them are not. This is again from the house. So this is, speaking of people doing it DIY, this is my living room, which became the waiting room. This is sort of towards the end of when COVID was getting to where people could safely go out again. Some pictures of, so yeah. And then I didn't want people to see my living room, so I had to make this tunnel. So this is the room. I've got some LEDs going around the top, which are just a standalone remote kind of thing. There's the front door. So imagine you've booked this thing for this immersive experience, and you go to the neighborhood, and it's this guy's house, and you walk into that. There's the tunnel going down to the Eureka Room. Kind of looks like Murder Volcano. Still, even though the walls are white. Yeah, so yeah. This is the last group in my house. I was more excited than them to get it out of my house. This is the control room before, and this is my living room kind of back in order, sort of. So I found a building in May on Cesar Chavez, which is obviously this building. And it was really hard to find a place. Obviously, it's just in general in Austin, but I had special requirements where I had to have at least 9-foot ceilings because of the height of it. And sound is a big issue because I turn the music up, it's very loud, people are screaming. It's in a good way. And so I got lucky with this property. I have a 10-month lease on it through March to kind of test this idea out. So I've really been hustling that. This is a picture of building it out. It used to be 2 panels deep, now it's 3 panels deep. There's my man Grant. This guy is amazing. He helped me build a whole bunch of stuff. He's
What
just.
does panels deep mean? I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, thank you for stopping me. We had them in a 4x8 panel of LEDs. So in the original version, I had 1 panel and another panel, so it was 8 feet wide. And then in this version, you can kind of see it's like there's like 1 panel here and then 2, and then like 3 goes there, so it's 12 feet. Thank you for asking. I have all this in my head, and
Just out of curiosity, what prompted you to expand it? Just you had more space, so why not? Or
No, it just didn't feel quite right with 4 people were standing close to the screen, and
okay.
I feel like this is totally. It just feels like the right depth now. It's more immersive. Like people were kind of on the edge and stuff.
Just making it better.
Yeah. So that around a bit. I'll talk about that. So this is the waiting room now. It's way more cool, and the ceilings of this place are 11 feet, so it's like much better. Right now I'm running it off this MacBook here for the waiting room. This is the waiting room with the. So this is just the TV that runs from the MacBook right now. These lights are Hue lights. I'm in the middle of getting hooked up to Touch Designer, so the whole thing will run on Touch Designer. I can synchronize the sound in this room with the sound in the LED room and make like a much more seamless and integrated experience. So.
Does Touch Designer control those lights too?
Touch Designer can. I mean, there's some stuff on GitHub that people have written to integrate with Hue. It's not baked into Touch Designer, but loads of stuff are baked into Touch Designer. In fact, let me go ahead and just jump over there for a second and just show you that. I mean, I really like this thing. It can do, tons of like VR headsets, like Oculus. It can do like any sensor you can think of. It's got like body motion sensing technology. Like it can just do any kind of sensor or data manipulation you could think of. And
Almost any standard data stream protocol, it knows how to talk to it and control it.
Yeah, it's just amazing. It's a little weird to get used to it at first, but I believe a lot of the big installations you see at like shows and concerts that have like all this stuff going on and the projection mapping, I think it's usually Touch Designer because
This has kind of become the industry standard for controlling this sort of thing.
I can't say that for sure, but it certainly seems that way.
Is it only available on Macs or is it cross-platform?
It's better on a PC. They do have it on Mac. It seems to work okay on a Mac, but it was born on a PC.
For this audience,
so
I
it's
have to
still
ask if there's a Linux port out there for it.
I don't think so, but don't
not
quote me on that.
surprised. I had to ask.
Is
Yeah.
it comparable to something like QLab for lighting?
I think like it kind of does that same sort of stuff. I don't know too much about QLab, but
I've used QLab a little bit in design. I mean, I know QLab, it's for theatrical cues, so I know it handles light, sound, and projection
okay,
cues.
yeah. A lot of VJs use Touch Design because a lot of this can be done on the fly.
I was going to say that, like, from my experience with QLab, it's like, yes, you can control lights, but it's going to be like controlling at most like 15 fixed lights. It's not for like controlling a 10,000 LED wall with a channel for each one.
This thing does like massive projects, yeah. And they usually have like multiple PCs running that kind of coordinate in some way that's
And to any
well
QLab
beyond me.
experts watching, sorry if I'm wrong about that.
So I just got some photos of, people at a gift shop. So that's basically the Eureka Room. So didn't give out too many spoilers. Let me just stop and see if anything was terribly confusing or if questions about that. Okay.
I have a question, but you may not be able to answer it because you don't want to spoil things. So what?
What
What
happened?
what is it? Yeah, like do you
Okay. So, all right. So
I mean, I kind of got a general
okay.
idea, but.
So let me talk about that. That's a good segue. So there's a lot of this immersive stuff now. You may know Meow Wolf. You probably there's another Meow Wolf photo. You may be familiar with the Museum of Ice Cream and these Instagram houses where people go and take photos. God, that's a really small photo. I don't know why that's
That's
showing.
the Van Gogh.
This is the Van Gogh thing. There are, if
cool.
you're not familiar with Van Gogh things, they're basically you show up and there's a bunch of projections of Van Gogh on the walls and some of them are animated. And there's like literally, I think like 10 or more companies doing this. Like they're all just doing the same thing.
No,
Like they
actually,
branched out.
there's multiple companies just doing the Van
It's
Gogh
like-
thing to the point that the original one in Paris, the Atelier Lumiere, puts out all this advertisement saying, we're the real one. They're all cheap knockoffs.
Yeah, and they're like $60. I feel like a lot of them are a money grab. I mean, obviously
I mean,
making
the
money because
original,
they keep
which I've
copying them.
seen, is incredible. The one in Paris is mind-blowing.
Yeah.
But yeah, the other ones from people who've been to them, yeah, they don't sound nearly as impressive, but I haven't been to the other ones.
Yeah, so there's a lot of this going on. The Eureka Room, by contrast, is kind of, instead of you go, and like Meow Wolf is awesome, and like a lot of these things are really awesome. I'm not saying that about what I'm saying about the Van Gogh thing, about all of them. But a lot of them are, you go and you look at things or you explore. What the Eureka Room is, or how it is different, is I want the people to interact with each other. So a lot of there's sort of games, there's a lot of absurdity, there's a lot of fun, there's a lot of uncertainty, there's a lot of playfulness. And I want it to be for adults, like not for kids. I've had kids in there and they love it, but I feel like when there's a kid in there, everyone kind of focuses on the kid, and it's a lot more interesting when you just have adults in there and you're like, okay, here's some unstructured play, act stupid. It's just a different thing. And people, if you look online, there's some really good reviews. Some people really, really love this, and that's more of the focus here than the come and look at this stuff. So some people come and they're disappointed by the visuals because to me that's not what it's about. They're there
If they're expecting
sort of-
Meow Wolf grade visuals, they might not get what they're looking for.
Yeah. So
Need 200,000 LEDs.
I need 200,000 LEDs. Yeah. In fact, things happen so quickly there
But
you can't.
frankly, the low-res nature of it is part of what I find so charming about it. It's like
Yeah.
it's like chiptune escape room.
Yeah. There's a lot of the aesthetic is kind of homemade on purpose and because out of necessity, but it's kind of stuck to where I'm just going to keep that. So along the lines of like having people interact, especially strangers, it's like I have a huge pile of feedback from people, and like I think it's just really something people, a lot of people really appreciate. Some people say it's like their favorite thing, that they got to mess around with strangers or whatever. I had a couple quotes here that I've seen recently. There's in the New York Times. In 1990, only 3% of Americans said they had no close friends. In 2021, nearly 12% said the same. The United States is in the grips of a loneliness crisis that predates the COVID pandemic. In 2018, a study by the Kaiser Family Foundation said 1 in 5 Americans said they always or often felt lonely or socially isolated. I think that plus the pandemic, plus a lot of screen addiction, work from home, everything from home really, is really caused a great desire for people to go out and have spaces where they can interact with other people and meet other people. And so that's a lot of the driving force, I think a lot of the appeal of this to people, other than the surprises and the weird fun. I've also seen that like, studies have shown that people consistently underestimate how much they will enjoy interacting with a stranger, and I see that here all the time. Like people, they get into the waiting room like, I don't know, we'll be in this room with these people we don't know. I'm right about at the 30-minute mark, so I don't want to go much longer, but I could go forever. So I just want to say that there's that aspect, and I feel like a lot of this technology will really help connect people. There's a lot of focus, I think, on screen-based stuff and VR-based stuff, but I think there's a lot of opportunity for just using some of this technology. And this, what I'm doing here is just scraping the surface, I feel like, to
Well, if I
help
was
connect
gonna be
people.
snarky, your metaverse actually works.
Hey, well, I mean,
Shots fired.
yeah. So, yeah. So, I guess I'll leave it at that and see if there's any questions. That's probably
Does the room have questions for Mike? And also, I'm going to pop out quick. Does anybody besides myself need a parking voucher? I'll go get them from the desk if you do. Okay. You, all right. I'll go get 2 of them for
Okay.
us.
All right.
That's good.
And Nick, are you able to see if there's any questions online?
Oh, well, yeah. You,
Yeah, that's
all right, you have the power. If there's any
What's
online.
that?
Not at the moment.
Not at the moment?
I'm on there as well.
So, Mike, you've been to the Eureka Room.
Yes.
What would you like people to know that I have not shared?
Oh, well, I mean, since you already got the Turkey Volcano slide in the deck.
Okay, sorry.
I can tell them about Turkey Volcano a little bit. I mean, it's just the interactive element, I think, is the. Go.
Yes.
I came in a little bit late. I kind of get the idea. I've been to Meow Wolf. I've done escape rooms. I like the idea of like an interactive, kind of like something kind of different, you know. This is something you bring like your friends to, a date, a first date to, a second date, your family.
Well,
It's like,
I feel like escape room is a little misleading because I wouldn't go to an escape room necessarily, but this is a completely different experience. It's more of an immersive, collaborative
okay.
experience. Yeah.
But it's still pertaining to my original question that I asked him. It is interactive in the sense that it's not like a theater. You just walk in and watch something. It's,
No, and each of the panels I feel like is like, well, I don't want to, again, it's hard to not give things
Yeah.
away.
Yeah, to answer your question directly, I have had people come on first dates. It does seem to be it's maybe not a first date thing because it is kind of weird. Like depends on who the people are.
Very
Families,
That's how you weed 'em out.
It could
Families
be a
do
very
come.
fast filter.
I was gonna say that's
Yes,
how you weed 'em
yeah,
out.
okay.
Yeah. I mean, if you feel like this is for you and you wanted to see if they're like if they're there for you, then you can bring them. Yeah, one guy said he invited somebody on a first date, and she's like, "How about the 4th date?" Or something. So I get like birthday parties. I get. I will say one thing. I've noticed. Make sure your friends are into it because it's not for everybody. There's sometimes like a group of people who like one of them's really into it, and others are more. I wouldn't say it's for extroverts, but I'd say it's like for people who are willing to be playful or want to be playful in just like a pretty harmless way.
Somebody who's very far on the introvert side might not find this super fun.
Yeah, it could be like the room is, you see it's not like a lot of space. I mean, it's enough space, but and right now doing 4 to 10 people in there.
Yeah. And I have a question from online. How does one make a reservation for the room, and how much does it cost?
Oh, is that my social media person? You can make a reservation at eurekaroom.com, and it currently costs $25, and I don't have any fees on that other than the government taxes. And I would advise joining a group that's, if you don't have a group of 8, and you can, it's best, the bigger the group, the better. So if you have 2 and you see that there's already some people who've booked 4 of the 8 spots, I would book with them. I know it sounds weird. Most things you don't want to you kind of want it to yourself. People contact me all the time saying, I want it to myself. How to do that? It's better with other people. Mike, would you agree?
Yeah, my wife just booked her second. She's bringing the.
Oh, she's the one that booked. Oh, awesome.
Bringing the whole.
Oh, thanks. So,
Funeral home.
I'm open. So it's open Thursday through Sunday and by appointment. So.
We did call
Yeah,
it
and-
murder room.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
I
I've
guess-
made enough murder jokes. I wasn't going to mention that. But,
And I guess like a question I'd have for you is, obviously, I could easily see this, places like this, often become places that like companies do corporate team building sort of things. And to the point where a lot of people dread escape rooms precisely because of that.
Yeah,
like what is your pitch of why this is not a terrible, awkward experience with your coworkers if your company is dragging you to this?
Well, it's not cliche, that's for sure.
It's not, certainly.
It's a good start.
Yes, I think, what, again, it depends on the company. I'm not going to say it's for every company. I'll say it's for, if you have a team that is a fun team or seems like fun people and they seem like they're being something like this, like surprises, and experiences, I would say it would be totally great for them because it's totally different.
But the team who is all remote and they don't ever socialize and don't maybe want to socialize, maybe not.
I've had some of them, they like it okay, but they don't know each other. Like, it's a work function, so I think that changes the context, right? So, yeah.
And I guess I have one more question for I'll see if there's more from the room. Like, you clearly devoted a substantial amount of your life to this, literally a room in your house, your time, your money, many false starts. Like, and I hear the philosophy behind it, but like, what for you personally made you want to build this thing and put it in the world and stick with it despite how much work and setbacks there
Carve out half your wall.
I had 1,500 people come through my house. Which my toilet has never been so clean. I don't know. I honestly just feel like it was just something that had to be done. I mean, it sounds cheesy or something, but like it was just like I just felt compelled to do it. I don't even feel like it's necessarily my calling or anything. It's like, well, this kind of needs done, so that's what's happening. And that sounds insane, I know.
I love it.
Kind of get it though. I like it.
Yeah. So, Mike, do you?
Yeah, so I think you said this, you got this place till March,
I have it till March, so please tell your friends. Yes.
and then is there another
I don't know.
phase?
There's like the property, like much in Austin, is in flux. They don't know what they're going to do with it.
But for you,
For
the
me-
Eureka Room,
For me, yeah. I mean, I would like to maybe stay there a little bit longer than that. I need to see if it will be successful. I need to find some probably funding if I really want to get it to a more like 3 to 5 room kind of situation. I'm working on getting up the numbers. I get a lot of great reviews, but trying to get the sales number and revenue up is
so that would be the next phase would be to build out more rooms versus a bigger room, like it would be more.
I would like
rooms.
one room that is bigger, and then I would like to move to, instead of the LEDs, I want to move to projection so I can get a higher resolution. There's a lot more stuff I could do with high resolution, and I could always dumb it down to match the lower resolution.
Yeah, and I have a question about that too, but Kevin, go ahead.
So,
Well, and also I'm curious, like, so do you, are you committed to that you design all the content of the experiences, or are you starting to farm that out to experience creators?
right now, it's kind of me, because I feel like I
Well, your voice
climbed
is
the
very
mountain. I climbed the
unique. It would
mountains,
be hard to
and
farm
just
that
like
out.
finally got the canvas up, and it's like, okay, for me, I'm going to work on the canvas myself for a while, and then as demand grows, yeah. But
And
and
frankly,
as the tone gets more settled, the tone's pretty settled. You kind of get what the tone is, and how. But for now, it's
the only other thing I got on that is, well, my advice about finding funding is you just need to find an eccentric tech millionaire who's convinced this is the key to productivity or enlightenment or something.
Okay. Well, it's
You
both.
tagged
of those.
Elon Musk on Twitter.
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll see. I'll be beginning that more in earnest after the next couple weeks. So I just hired my first employee, so I can finally get some.
Congrats.
I know, yeah.
That's
So I can get some. I know. These 12 to 15-hour days are killing me. So. Yeah, so I can get out of the operations and do more
I
of
think
the
I actually also
future
maybe
work
know
that
the
he's done.
employee you just hired, if I am correct.
Chelsea, you know.
Oh, somebody else. Never mind.
Okay. Okay. Anything else?
You got any other questions, especially from somebody who's not
You're
asking
welcome.
questions?
I'll be around if y'all want to have like other questions you want to ask afterward while you're
I just
here.
had if nobody else has one right now, I just had a question about, have you ever heard of the Volume? It is the space that they shot most of The Mandalorian.
Oh, yeah,
It's like a sort of a dome.
Where the computers can switch all
It's
the
basically the running
yes.
a Unity engine or a game
Yeah.
development engine vision. And
I know, it's insane.
Yeah.
I think they're building something like that here. Someone
That's
was
what I
telling
was
me.
gonna ask.
Yeah.
You
No,
knew
like,
the people
none,
that have that
none
here,
of that
and then
shit is
how, I guess,
relocation shoots,
what the
like
different
everything is a
technology, what if
projected,
you happen to
it's not
know
CGI either, it's
if
like
that's
all
projection or
projected,
LED
don't
like,
just like
or-
sets.
I think,
No, it's not-
I
it's
can't
not
remember how it
CGI.
works. I remember
They're
watching something on
projecting
it.
a CGI
Yeah.
on
But there's a
dome
group
and
in
filming
town.
it.
Yeah, someone was telling me recently that they're
No,
building
I
a
mean,
similar,
you know,
or,
even though I
a
feel
kind
that
of a
season 2
seamless
was a bit of a
dome
sit down from season
experience?
1,
I-
Or do you like the
quality-wise,
box
the tech
nature?
that lets them make it look like a movie on a TV budget, it's mind-blowing. That's insane.
I have grown to like the box, but it just could be familiarity.
Yeah.
I don't want this to be like, oh, I don't want this to become an arms race. Like, I love technology where I was like, I want the highest res thing, I want all this, because that's just not a game I want to play. I would rather be like, okay, I'm going to make the best experiences, and even if the drawings are like they are, as you've seen, and just like, I'd love to keep the homemade feel and focus on like what people are actually feeling than like what the resolution, what they're seeing, or something like that.
I guess I'm hearing a very similar philosophy to people who make
I wouldn't turn it down.
modern games where like they have very retro graphics and the focus is on the most engaging gameplay possible,
Yeah.
not the realist
Yeah,
graphics.
I mean, you can have fun with like anything, right? You just have to like set the experience up right and get the people who are matched for that
Well, and I mean,
experience.
if you're talking about VR experiences, already in town we have Originator Studios, so it's like, you know, that somebody else has already claimed that niche, but nobody's doing what you're doing.
Yeah,
And there's something about the box that, I mean, everybody has a space. It feels like everybody has a little, especially if there's 6 to 8 people.
mhm,
You
yeah.
know, versus, you know,
It's a different, like,
a
the-
dome would be a kind
things-
of whole different, yeah.
yeah, with all the reading I've done, like, things really change, you know, 2 people in a room, 4 people in a room, 8 people in a room, 12 people in a room, it's like a different vibe, you have to, for me, I've just had to play with it, I'm like, okay, what feels right, what feels,
What
and
does
then when you get a
seem
big
to be
room,
sweet.
like, that changes the intimacy that you have, like, you're not gonna have probably the same sort of connection, and not feel like everyone in the room had the same energy.
Have you developed an equation relating your size and number of people to optimal connection yet?
Well, there's like Priya Parker, if you know her, she's the Art of the Gathering, she has some numbers that she kind of guesses.
Oh, wow, you
Not
actually
guesses,
do
but
that
like
numbers.
her experience, like but I'll build a bigger room and then I'll let you know.
All right. Can I get more data?
I don't want to keep yapping if I feel like
Oh,
we're
well, we
way
have
out.
the room till 9, so
Okay.
it's just until the audience gets.
Just tell people get up.
I swear, I'll shut up. My last one is just about feedback, like how do you incorporate, you know, I know you take.
That's a
it-
great question.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of kept this to more the technical aspect, but like, I could talk a lot about how things get designed, and all the terrible ways I've tried and what I've learned. I do a lot of like early prototyping, you know, design, build, test, just constantly run that cycle, and I take the feedback as soon as I can. Like Turkey Volcano, like we didn't even go in the room when I first started. I didn't even know what it was. Like I got a bunch of props. What can we come up with? And then and when people write stuff down in the forums, I have survey forums when they leave, I totally incorporate that. Like I've listened to people in these rooms so many times. Like I can hear what they're not laughing. You know, there's a dead spot. I know when they're confused, and I'm just like I have like endless notes on my phone of like just me sitting there listening. Okay, I gotta change that. I need a beat there. They're talking over each other. Whatever. Yeah.
Do you stay up like afterwards and change the whole?
No, I just collect a huge list of things and like sit down every now and then and just make all those changes. Yeah, House of Psych, that's one of the programs. I was like, I'm well into 500 hours of editing that. Like I just constantly,
Oof.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we still say it around the house.
oh, thank you. Yeah.
And, all right, great
Oh,
question.
sorry, no.
Yes.
Is it a one size, is it a one program, or can you choose multiple programs? Can you begin?
Yeah, right now it's a set of 4 programs. The idea originally, and maybe in the future, is that people could just show up to a building and select from a screen, swipe their credit card and go in, and it's like totally this weird thing there's no other humans involved. I tried that in my house, it really creeped people out. So,
A weird building that will just take your money and you get choice. That sounds like the beginning of
Somebody's
like
house.
a Twilight Zone episode that ends badly.
yes.
It's all run by robots, don't worry about it.
I want to do the Halloween Black Mirror experience.
So there are
Yeah.
4 programs,
I'd
how do
go
you
to that.
experience all 4?
You get all 4 in 1 hour. So if you just show up, they're all just packaged together, kind of seam together, and it's kind of worked good as a package. So I may just go that route too instead of the individual. And hopefully there will be more soon. A Halloween one, not the Black Mirror one, but
Black Mirror.
I mean,
hopefully soon. Hopefully next year, I guess.
Yeah, I need my Black Mirror fix.
yeah, I can't wait for the chip to short my brain out.
So
I guess we don't have any other questions. I have a final one that maybe we could end on.
sure.
All right, so, and I'm going to make this 2 parts so we don't end on a downer note. I'm sure, as you said, you've gotten a lot of feedback from a lot of people. What is the most negative, angry feedback you've gotten? And then what is the most positive, melted your heart feedback you've gotten?
Man, what way to re-traumatize me. So
I'm just curious.
I
It's such a
skipped-
unique thing.
I skipped this whole part where this went through this phase where I was trying to combine mindfulness and positive psychology with fun, weird stuff, and I called it mindfultainment. And it was just a total disaster. Like, people did not get it at all. They were expecting something else. Like, they went in the room and instructed them to do some stuff, and one guy went in there and came out, and it was terrible. And he's just like, I can't remember what I asked him, but he just looked at me and says, "Don't tell me what to do." And I was like, "Whoa!" And I was like, "Oh, okay, well, that's like, yeah." So, I mean,
I say that jokingly a lot.
yeah, I mean, maybe I said it a little harsher than he did, but he was just like, he was shook. I felt bad because he was obviously
He was game to have
I
fun,
gave him a bad
and it wasn't
experience.
what he was expecting.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, that happens. Doesn't happen. Those programs quickly died, but unfortunately, there are some people who got kind of sacrificed along the way, metaphorically. So the best feedback. I mean, I had these 3 women from Brazil, and this other couple of women that were with them. They didn't know. And they were probably in the 60s. 2 of the Brazilian women didn't even speak English. And like, there's definitely English instructions and stuff, but they went in there and it was just like, oh my God, it was just like screaming, and they were just having like the best time ever. You can see there's bowls. I gave them a smaller bowl for some reason. I went in there and I said, how does the smaller bowl work? Because I'm always getting feedback. And the woman was like, oh, we just used it as a hat. Which, if you've been there, it's not meant to be a hat. And then the one woman translated for the other, she said, this is the best thing that she's done when she's been in America. And I was like, wow, so I was like,
During the
she's been here for a couple months.
trip to America.
So I was like, yeah, so I'll leave it at that. I'm not promising either one of those experiences for anyone. So.
Too late, the bar's been raised.
All right.
Any final stuff?
Turkey volcano.
Thank you, Kevin and EFF, for having me. I don't know if I said that to begin with.
It's
Thank you all.
a unique project that I've never seen anything else like it.
Yes.
Just one more comment. I'm from Arizona, so this is a little fish. Has anyone ever been to the thing or seen the thing?
Yeah,
You have?
on the highway?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
thing?
Yeah.
No, I've seen the billboards. I've not been, yes.
I gotta check it out.
I want to.
All right.
Yeah, that's what
I've
I've
driven
been
through
saying.
Arizona, but I've not seen that. I'll have to keep in mind. Thanks everybody for watching. It was
Thank
great
you.
to see a lot of friends on the stream. And for those of you here in person, if you want to join anybody for a drink in the lobby, feel welcome. Otherwise, we hope we'll see you next month.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Gotta stop it.
Oh my god, yeah. I did
You
it.
see 1,000 billboards for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for like 30,
Yep.
3
Well, you
years.
know,
Yeah.
we're just going to keep iterating.
Yeah.
And there's no
Okay.
winning. Well,
It
that's
was
the
pretty
beauty. You just
interesting.
iterate and
Very,
listen.
I didn't expect that.
Yeah,
I got this
yeah.
computer.
I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Like the whole story,
We did.
Yes,
the whole storyline.
and I'm still not fully
Yeah.
transitioned.
And at the end, it was
I know
kind
the
of fucking
feeling.
like whatever, but like,
It always takes longer than you think.
Build it.
Well, it doesn't help that I'm
Yeah.
Mr. Difficult who has to use Cubes OS and
There you go.
That was like a 3-day project to figure that part out.
No, but they, you should have a clip of that. That looks
City
cool.
Museum in
We're,
St. Louis.
we're getting lots of thanks as well from the online screen.
yeah, yeah.
And Emily says she just waved at the screen as if you could see her.
I've had those moments.
I made it to all but Denver.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll see you around again.
Yes.
Actually, that's your speaker next month, actually.
Okay, so next month,
I'll see you around. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, I know, I'm hoping it was Santa Fe.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, I wouldn't be OG, so,
Nice.
you guys think?
Yeah.
I had the most amazing experience in the elevator. I basically had a
My
religious
anniversary this
experience
weekend.
now
I should take my
in
wife
Denver.
to
It was amazing, it blew me away.
I-
How could they have
What
done
was
this?
this?
I feel like
In
she
the
might have-
elevator,
The
on
way I
down,
put it is
this
this.
woman was like,
Yes,
I did not like
sometimes
that at
promote
all.
people's
He dragged me
money-making
to
ventures,
this,
but
and
I
did
only
not
promote
enjoy
it if I
that.
personally
I don't
believe in
like
it.
art.
That's how I am.
He keeps dragging me out to art, and I
Oh,
don't go
yeah,
on lunch.
I will
and
tell you,
didn't
like,
like
yeah, I
anything
haven't been
about
to
it.
this
It was
thing, but I've heard
amazing.
it, it looks really cool. Right.
Because
Well, you know, and the way
it was
I
just like,
put
I
it
was
is,
in the clouds,
as soon as
and then-
speakers were, to be honest, I don't entirely
It's
agree
not
with
for
them.
You never know, it's not.
But, you know, I mean, I'm not necessarily endorsing them, but I think what they have to say is valuable for the conversation.
Yeah, I get you.
Personality preference, I mean, one of the questions is like,
I mean, as I try to make very clear to people, basically, the
You gotta
only
pay
thing
for it.
that will get you kicked out of this community is if you are harassing or being bigoted towards people. If you just have controversial opinions, I won't kick you out.
Again, and not student or sure.